Welcome to the InSession Film podcast for September 22nd, 2013. This is episode 31, fellas, and I'm JD Duran.
And I'm Nate Parsons.
And I'm Scott Pollard.
We have no guest on the show this week. We were supposed to have one, but due to scheduling conflicts, we had to reschedule some of that. But for this week, though, we are going to be reviewing the new movie Prisoners, which I'm really excited to talk about. And a lot of buzz out there on this movie right now. And going off of that, with the theme this week, in fathers and in movies, we're going to be discussing our top 3 movie dads, which was kind of hard for me to choose from. There's so many good ones out there, so I'm really excited to get into that conversation here in a little bit. And we're going to finish off our football movie series with a double review, where we're going to do Any Given Sunday, since we weren't able to get into that last week, and Friday Night Lights. So we'll do some quick reviews on those 2 films, and then we're going to finish off the show with some awesome news stuff. There was some really great stuff that came out this week that we're going to go through, and then of course movies that we saw during the week, which should be good. And I think for our extra film segment, if we get some time, it's on the schedule, we're going to do Kings of Summer, which I'm pretty excited for. All right, before we get into it, fellas, how was your week?
My week was good. It was really busy. I'm getting used to being crazy busy with work and school and stuff like that. And had a great weekend in Nashville, so I'm just glad to be back and get some rest before another week starts.
And tell the people why you were in Nashville.
Because I was taking a lady friend to the Taylor Swift concert. And which is quite a spectacle.
It is. I'm telling you, the last 2 acts of her thing was directed by Baz Luhrmann. I'm telling you. Is it not?
The very last one especially.
Yeah. It looks something straight out of Moulin.
It really does. Yeah. It's Gatsby-esque.
Yeah. It was pretty good. All right, Nate, how was your week?
It didn't involve a Taylor Swift concert.
Well, I'm sorry. You missed out.
Well, hey, tell the people why you were gone last week, Nate.
I was out of town.
Something like that. We'll leave it there, though.
Yes, we will leave it there.
Very private man.
Yep. But my week has been, or was, pretty good. Just getting real busy at work.
Sure. I had a very busy week with work as well. I actually went out to California on Wednesday, and it was all business. It wasn't a whole lot of fun. But I always like it out there. It's good weather, and people are fun when I'm out there. It was a good time, other than the fact that, last week, Scott, we were talking about how my Michigan team almost lost to Akron. And then again on this last Saturday, we almost lost to UConn, who is almost worse than Akron. So the last
Keyword
2 weeks,
being almost, though.
Almost,
so it's still won, so you're still good.
So it's been a pretty tough week altogether. I'm so glad to be back in Louisville. I'm glad to be back in Kentucky.
Yeah.
Oh man, it was a long week, but it was good. A lot of good stuff happening, and we got some good stuff to talk about. So let's get into it.
And here we go.
You're listening to the InSession Film podcast. This is episode 31. Sometimes people are driven into their absolute limits. If you guys were forced to, would you be willing to break the law to save someone you love?
I definitely think so. I would definitely break the law to save my family.
As would I.
My son already told you that the guy was inside the RV just watching him, right?
We haven't found any physical evidence inside the RV. or at his aunt's house where he lives?
Nothing.
Alex Jones, unfortunately, has the IQ of a 10-year-old. There's no way that someone with the IQ of a 10-year-old could abduct 2 girls in broad daylight and then somehow make them disappear.
Well, maybe he wasn't on his own. How could he drive an RV if he has an IQ of a 10-year-old?
Hey, we're considering all possibilities.
I don't think you are considering all possibilities.
I hear what you're saying.
No,
Sir,
you listen to
sir,
me. Just shut up for a second.
This is what I'm going to need you to do for me. I need you to calm down, Mr. Dover. I understand this is an incredibly hard time, but I have every uniformed police officer in this state looking for Anna.
I don't understand what any of this means. They said he ran. They said he tried to get away. I don't understand why he would try to run away.
I hear what you're saying. I'm not crossing anybody off my list. Just let me do my job.
All right. Prisoners is directed by Denis Villeneuve and stars Hugh Jackman, Jake Gyllenhaal, Terrence Howard, Melissa Leo, Paul Dano, and a whole bunch of other people. All right. Well, what did you guys think about the new movie, Prisoners?
I really enjoyed it. I just saw it today, so it's fresh on my mind. I really thought it was a good mystery thriller type of movie. It reminded me of David Fincher's Zodiac a lot. It almost felt like I was watching it at some points, but I really enjoyed it. What about you guys?
Well, I was really looking forward to this one, and it definitely was everything I thought it was going to be. It's very dark, depressing, haunting, and suspenseful from start to finish. I mean, once it gets going, it never lets up. The acting is fantastic, especially from Hugh Jackman and Jake Gyllenhaal. And I just like that the movie's 2.5 hours long, but it never feels slow or boring. They just kind of keep throwing stuff at you, so it just keeps being engaging. And I mean, I liked it all the way through.
Yeah, I like this movie quite a bit too. With what you guys were saying, it definitely felt like it was a lot shorter than 2.5 hours. Like Nate was saying, there's a lot of different elements here that I think that worked really well. One thing that I liked was some of the camera work here. I feel like was pretty effective in what he was trying to do. The biggest problem I had was some of the direction, though, and probably some of the bigger problems I had with some of this movie overall is some of the transitions that he used here. I felt like softened the blow a little bit of the thrill. Because I felt like once some of the more thrilling moments was going to happen, they definitely built that suspense, but then all of it happens off screen. You never see it. They just transition to it really fast. Outside of that, I felt like this movie was really great. It has really strong performances, a really strong score. The story is mostly strong and was pretty great. But I do have more. I want to touch on it, but I'll throw it to you guys for more. But I felt like overall this is a great movie, little flaws, and it's going to live on the performances. The performances here are incredible.
Yeah, and they're really better than you normally get from this kind of movie, especially Hugh Jackman, who really reminded me of Leonardo DiCaprio in The Great Gatsby, where the scene where he gets really angry. I felt like Hugh Jackman did that many times in this film, and it's almost like he took that one scene from that movie, for me, and it was just repeated over and over because Jackman was really on top of his game here. He definitely, you can tell his effort level from Wolverine to this wasn't close. I felt like he really puts a lot more into this role than he does Wolverine, which he kind of mails in usually. But also Jake Gyllenhaal, I was really glad to see him with an adult-like performance, not like childish. A lot of times he gets a little childish, teenage, boyish, I guess you would say. So I really enjoyed seeing him in this role, and I thought he was really great. I mean, he could. You weren't sure what he was doing, no spoilers, but he had some great scenes. Yeah. What did you guys think about Jake and Jackman?
Well, for Jake Gyllenhaal's character, whose name is Loki, which I kept thinking of the Avengers.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking about that the whole time. Yeah.
I wonder if there's a reason for that. I wonder if there's any connection. Why would you name somebody Loki? I mean, there's no other Loki in the world.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good point.
There's only one.
But, I mean, I like that they really didn't give him any character development. We don't really know anything about him other than he's kind of had maybe a rough past because, like, when he's first talking to one of the moms about kids and she asks him if he has kids, you can kind of tell that there's something there.
For the entire version of our podcast, be sure to subscribe to us on iTunes or on Stitcher, or check us out online at InSessionFilm.com.